Yo, yo, tell me what you know. Welcome to Sunshine Show. Woo! You guys, I have the most amazing guest for you this evening, this afternoon, this morning, wherever in the world you may roam. I have the one and only, the most amazing, the most phenomenal, the most fabulous, the most Bowie. Actually, let me take that back. The most Billy of them all. I have the one and only Billy Sheehan in the house.
Thank
Oh
you
my
very much.
God.
I'll try to live up to that intro. I don't know if I can.
I'm pretty sure that you can, Billy. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. Third time's a charm.
We had a great time last time. I'm glad to do it again.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for joining us. We got Don McDaniel, Paul Targ, Gabriel Walker from YouTube. We got Leaf Arrow. Thank you guys all for hanging out. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, comments, drop them down there in the chat. Let's get this party started. So, Billy, for the very few people that may not know who you are, please give us a brief introduction.
Well, I'm a bass player. Been playing for about 1,000 years. And I started in Buffalo, New York with my band Talas. Joined David Roth in 85. Left that, started Mr. Big. That continues on to this day to some degree, along with the Winery Dogs and Sons of Apollo. Play a lot with Steve Vai on the side as well. And another band called Niacin with Dennis Chambers on drums. And I've been very, very lucky to have a great run of, probably over 5,000 gigs. I don't know how many records I've made, but I've been doing it for over 50 years, and I'm still learning. And I'm down here in my studio practicing every day.
Do you really practice every day, Billy?
Every day. Yeah, every day. There's new things. I get my iPhone and I prop it up against something, and I select selfie video. And with my bass, I play into my iPhone my new idea for a song or a lick or a riff or something, or some new way of approaching the fretboard that I hadn't been doing before. I've got like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those videos. So it's always a constant attempt to improve and expand and know more about what's going on. And it's a blast. I love it. Every day I do it.
Awesome. Sorry, I had the wrong intro. I had the wrong heading on there. Party with Party 9 Vibes was a couple of weeks ago. Thank you, Michael, for noticing that. We're actually partying with Billy Sheehan tonight. All right, guys, let's check out the chat really quick. Gabriel says, "Hey, Billy, I am a huge fan of yours. I'm also a bass player."
Great.
We got Forsyth Imaging in the house. Yeah. We got Omar all the way from Mexico. He says, "Bass or die, Billy."
Hola, Omar. I was in Mexico recently to do some master classes and a little jam, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. Great people. I love it down there.
What is your favorite part about Mexico?
Well, the people are incredibly sweet, kind, and giving. The food is amazing. And there's just a vibe to Mexico that's like no place else. You know, and there's so many varied parts of Mexico. People think when mostly Americans were at fault with this, and we see a country, we think it's all kind of this unified one thing. Whereas many different aspects to it. Many, on the coasts and the mountains, there's all different cultures, different dialects, different foods. So it's quite an amazing place, and it would take a tourist quite a long time to really cover it in any extensive way, I believe. But it's a great place, and I always have a good time there.
Very nice. Do you have a favorite show that you played in Mexico?
I played down there with Steve Vai in the early 2000s, and we had a great lineup together with Tony McAlpine was in the band, me, Steve, Tony McAlpine, and we had some really cool shows. We did some down there, and they were a blast. The people were wonderful to us.
Very nice. Hello, Bass Bandicoot. Thank you for joining.
Hi.
How you doing?
Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Very okay.
Okay, cool, good. Hi, nice to see you guys. I got myself a drink.
Good for you.
Sup, Billy? Sup, Sonny? So good to see you guys.
We are happy to have you here with us. All right. Gabriel Walker says, "Hey, Billy, you're one of my biggest influences. And so I got a question. Do you like the bass player John Mung, because he's also a bass player I've been getting into?"
I'm not really. He's a fine, really wonderful player. I met him once or twice. I think we did a cover story for some bass magazine in Japan years and years ago, back in the '90s. And but since I'm older, I was into the original prog music, Genesis, King Crimson, yes, all the first bands that come out in the late '60s, early '70s. So the later prog, I don't know much about, and I haven't listened to much of it. But it's intriguing and interesting, and he's a wonderful guy. Every time I've met him, we had an enjoyable chat. But I don't know. I apologize. I don't know that much about his playing, but I know he has millions of fans, so he must be a great player.
Yeah.
If he has millions of fans, you must have billions of fans, Mr. Billy Sheehan.
I've got dozens of fans.
Swooning over here. I have been really excited since last week when we spoke and I booked this. I haven't been able to sleep much, so excuse the bags under my eyes.
Well, I see one gentleman mentioned Brand X. Percy Jones was their bass player. I saw them at a little club that we used to play every Tuesday, Talas Tuesdays at the Barrelhead in West Seneca, New York, and Brand X played there. But Phil Collins was the drummer on their record. But Kenwood Denard ended up being their substitute drummer because Phil couldn't tour with him. Later on with Niacin, I ended up having Kenwood Denard play on a track with me and Chick Corea and Niacin.
Whoa.
It's a tangled web we weave.
That is so cool. I love the Chick Corea name drop. One other question we have here is any pre-show rituals?
Not really. I warm up a lot. Usually, a tour bus gets in. I get off around noon. Go in. My crew guy Jeff sets up a little spot for me and a little practice amp, a black coffee, and I sit there. I start hitting it for hours. And people, it amazes me when people go on tour and they're off, checking out the town and shopping and other. No, I'm focused on one thing only. Is what's going to happen about 8 p.m. that night on stage. So I warm up a lot there. Take a break around 3 for sound check, go back, work some more. And then as soon as the opening act starts, that's when I know I got about 40 minutes. So I get dressed, get ready. I might have a little sip of beer, not wine, it's too much. And definitely a sip of black coffee. On stage about halfway through or 3/4 of the way through the show, I'll have a beer on stage. But by then I'm dripping wet with sweat, and I could probably chug turpentine. I wouldn't feel it because of that.
Oh my God, the visuals, Billy, the visuals. So I've got to ask you about how does one become so fabulous as yourself? Because I watched these videos of you on stage. You have the best fashion. I mean, your hair is always so glorious and beautiful. You wear like leather pants. I mean, where do you get all the fashion, all the fabulous?
Well, I started in the early '70s, and the glam era was upon us pretty quickly. So I don't know if you can see them. Oh, they're out of camera. But I had 6-inch heel, 4-inch platform, dressed in Lurex and all kinds of crazy, sparkly.
Holy crap!
It was the Bowie era, and and I had the high boots way before Kiss even existed. They came out later. I post a photo of it now. People go, "Oh, you got your Kiss boots on." They didn't even start their first rehearsal until 3 years later. We were in. I got the idea from Overend Watts, who was the bass player for Mott the Hoople, and he came out on stage with these high boots. I said, I gotta have them. So we now I like to dress like an adult. In other words, not necessarily sleeves cut off a t-shirt and cut off jeans and sneakers and a backwards baseball hat, which seems to be the uniform of 90% of the world today. So I always wear at least a collar and something nice on stage because for me, the stage is a special place. If you're going somewhere, you don't necessarily wear your everyday clothes. You dress up a little bit. So for me, the stage has always been special. So I've always dressed up a little bit. But as far as fabulosity goes, I don't know if I have much of that.
Oh, I'm telling you that you do, Billy. Oh my goodness. Okay.
That is funny.
We have a question from Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say Fabulosity sounds like it could be the name of one of Billy's bands for sure.
I'm going to write that down.
Yes, do that. Okay, Eddie, all the way from Colorado. He is an amazing illustrator. He asks what question should I ask you about your flow if I was to illustrate you?
Me?
Yep.
And my flow?
Your flow. So your flow is like, when he illustrated me, he asked me, like, what are your passions? What, and I'm like, my dog,
A nicely challenging question requiring me to make a tangible out of an abstract. So I think I can do that. I'm always reaching for better and more. And I also hold myself to a supremely high and critical standard, so much so that I am no YouTube commenter and their horrible, evil death threats they send me could ever top my own personal self-criticism and make sure that I'm righteous in doing it right and being right and doing the right thing and things of that nature. So I guess that's the flow you would get out of me, is that it's a supremely self-conscious, not in the negative sense, but self-conscious in the fact that I monitor what I do and how I am, and always try to strive for something higher.
Wow.
Billy,
that's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Brandy, you're glitchy again. Your audio's going in and out. Billy, who's sending you death threats? Because you know what? You need to send them my way. I will take care of them for you.
Right on. I will. I'm forwarding all of you from now on.
Yeah, thank you. I will be your personal. Hey, do you need a personal bodyguard? Because I got you.
I think you'd make a perfect bodyguard.
Oh,
someone wrote flowage. I see that. That's very good. Yes, I do love cats. Rebel is not here right now. He's 18 pounds a kitty cat now.
Whoa.
18 pounds. Wow. Very cool.
He's the sweetest little guy, too. When I first got him, he wouldn't let me brush him. He would just bite at the brush. He just thought I was fine. So now he gets to know it feels good. So now the look on his face when I brush him is one of complete trance. He's absolutely loves being brushed. So that's his newest trick.
Oh. All right, next question. So for the Billy Master, a bass master Billy, when are you coming to Austin, Texas? And are you going to be playing on tour anytime soon?
Bands don't choose where they play. That's why it's always a difficult thing. We only go where they book us. So as soon as any city, venue, club, promoter in Texas books whatever band I'm in, then I will go. People, the image that you might get from the movies is the band sits around in the living room watching TV, and one of them jumps up and goes, "Hey, let's go play Denver. Good idea. Come on." And they go, "No, you need about 90-day advance notice. So much in the way of logistics to make a tour happen, to route it city to city. So it isn't just some impromptu off the top of your head whim to go to a particular place. It has to be routed on tour. As of now, I'm not touring anywhere. The pandemic has taken its toll quite seriously on the touring business, and even some bands that have managed to get out had to shut it down. So it's been rough. We're hoping to get out with the Winery Dogs early next year. New Winery Dogs record is being mixed and mastered as we speak. Which is very happy. And also a brand new Talas record comes out in September. And it's a bittersweet because our singer, we lost him about a month after the record was completed. he was suffering from several different cancers before as he was singing, but he sang his ass off. And it was so inspiring to all of us around him that he got up to that mic and delivered. And the vocals, if you look up Crystal Clear, that's one song, a new song just got released. And before that, what was the song? Intermounting Flame. He kills on both of those. And it was a wonderful, wonderful guy. So the whole record comes out in September, and we're very happy about that because we believe it serves his legacy right, because he was a great man and a great singer. And now, people have this memento of him and singing the songs of Talas that we never got to do prior to me leaving in 1985 to go and join David Lee Roth. So the album is entitled 1985.
Wow.
That was a good year.
Cool.
It was a good year for heavy rock and metal. So
awesome. All right, we got Chris Luna out of Hawaii. He says, "Hey Billy, at our age now, what are your thoughts on stage volume with amps and monitors as opposed to in-ears?"
Well, my hearing is pretty beat up. I can hear pretty well, but it's not near what it used to be. The guy who invented in-ear monitors, Stephen Ambrose, is a dear friend of mine. And he, as the years went on, people were using in-ear monitors, but they're turning them up so loud they were doing as much damage or even more damage than regular monitor. So he took quite a concern with this, that his invention, even though other people have claimed to have invented it and other people make it because they never patented it. He originally made it for Stevie Wonder, so that when Stevie goes on television, he put the in-ears in and somebody off stage can give him cues. So he finished with the song. So Stevie, stand up and turn to your left. He'd stand up and turn to his left to shake the guy's hand. Whoa, and the guy would always be, how did he know I was over here? And Mr. Big, I think, was the first rock band with in-ear monitors on the Rush tour in 90 or 91. Eric was having a hard time hearing himself sing. We didn't want him to blow his voice out. So I talked to my friend Steven. He set up the first, as we know of, the first in-ear monitor setup on a rock stage. Opening for Rush, we had our an FM radio transmitter on the side of the stage with a giant antenna. And our singer wore a Sony FM Walkman, FM radio. So it would transmit on a station. He would pick it up and it would go into the molded ear things that Stephen made by hand for him. And it was amazing. Eric could hear himself perfectly. But the guys at Rush would go out on their bus while we were playing, and they'd know when they'd tune in their FM radio to our station, and they could hear it. So that's why they knew when our set was ending, they would come and get dressed and get ready to go on stage. So
wow.
So that the in-ear monitor thing was I've been very intimate with now. Now Stephen also invented a brand new thing that kind of has this acoustic, for lack of a better word or understanding, acoustic cushion that prevents the eardrum from being beat up. And I believe Brian Johnson from AC/DC was done touring because his doctor said if you go out, you'll never hear again. Stephen got to him, having tried this new kind, and I've seen other people try them as well. And then Brian decided that he's going to go and tour again with AC/DC just as the pandemic hit, though. But he was going to come back because Stephen's new monitors, they can actually, some people have had severe ear damage that it brings their hearing back, which is pretty amazing. So I tried them out when we were in Denver. That's where Stephen lives. And they're pretty amazing, phenomenal. They work with the engineers at Vanderbilt. They got a Department of Defense grant, because the military has a real tough time with people losing their hearing because of munitions and armaments going off. So, but for me personally, I'm real careful about it now. I usually plug one ear completely, put one in-ear monitor and the other, turn it way down. That way, because you have two in, it's sometimes hard to realize how loud they are. So it's barely whispering, and it's just my vocal. And I can hear perfectly well like that. So, but I'm delicate with it now. No wedges or side fills blasting me like it was for many decades.
Nice. Yes, Patrick, we are live right now. So if you have any questions for the amazing Mr. Billy Sheehan, drop them there in the chat. You guys, also, we are going to watch a couple of Billy's live solo videos with him and talk to him about what was going on at the time, how he does it. I'm very excited about it. You're
Hey,
quite
am I still
Billy.
glitchy, by the way?
You're
Can
still
you guys
glitchy.
hear me okay?
You're
Oh,
still
okay.
glitchy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just going to listen then.
Okay, that's good.
that's fine. We
Pick
learn.
another question for me, my dear.
I got one right here. So our amazing friend Omar from Mexico says some tips for a solo bass player career, like how to deal with all the stuff by yourself, a soloist bass player. How have you made it through all these years?
Well, my tip is don't be a solo bass player. There's 3 things you got to do. Join a band. Join a band with songs. Join a band with songs that you sing. And Paul McCartney, Sting, Lemmy, Chris Squire, Geddy Lee, Steve Harris, blah, 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 all on. They're all in a band. They're all in a band with songs, and all in a band with songs with singing. So that's very important. Eventually, how it worked for me is we all sang in our band back in the early days in Buffalo. Once in a while, the other guys would want to take a break, so I'd do a solo, give them a break, and I could go on I'd look up at the clock, 10, 15 minutes, okay, but it's not. No, I didn't go that long, really. But it was a nice break in the show, and it was a thing, just to do a little musical interlude in between songs, and that was it. But to be a solo bassist, it's like being a solo drummer. Just go out and play a drum solo every night. I don't know. Great, but I don't know if a lot of the general public, who was what your target audience should be, not other musicians, because they always get in free anyway. So that's you can't make a career out of that. But yeah, if you want to learn solo bass, I'm not going to stop you. But the best thing to do is to learn a million songs, be prepared for anything, get up on stage, be able to play. Hey, do you know so and so by Moby Grape? Yeah, go ahead. And you're playing, because you know a million songs. Back in the days, we had a huge song list, hundreds of songs we knew. And at any given time, somebody can call out any song and we know it. And if I don't know it, I can watch the guitar player's hands and see what chord he's playing and figure out how to fake my way through it. But life as a solo bass player could be a pretty lonely thing, because it seems like there is such a thing because we have YouTube now. And guys go out there and just play their bass solo, but it's amazing. I see some of these guys; they're fantastic. But this is an old man giving the best advice to help you as I can. Get in a band. There's a thing with a band. I'm reading Ted Templeman's autobiography now. Ted Templeman was a producer who did Van Halen, Doobie Brothers, Van Morrison, one of the most iconic producers in the world. He did Eat 'Em and Smile. David Lee Roth, he was our producer. Worked with me after that a little bit as well. He talks about, getting in. He was in a band himself, a band that had hits in the 60s. Being in a band is so essential. You get this thing together. He's talking about the early days of Van Halen, how they were all buddies and hanging out, and they were all in the same neighborhood pretty much, except for Mike was in Arcadia, a little bit longer drive to get in a hang. And you get a thing together with people you create with. It's an amazing thing. And as you're singing, the audience is singing along. I go out with Mr. Big, and we play To Be With You, and I look out and I see 1,000, 5,000, 10, 20, 30, 50, even 100,000 people.
Wow.
With tears coming out of their eyes of joy, singing along. So, yeah, if you want to do bass solos, God bless you. Good for you. I wish you the best. I'll show you anything I can. People get the idea that all I do is bass solos, because when they come to the show with their iPhone video, the only thing they post is my solo. There was 2 hours of playing that wasn't a bass solo. So, but I hate to even think that I'm ever discouraging anyone from trying something new or something different, because that's what it would be. But to be just a straight up solo bassist, and then you'll hear songs with people like a Misty, the old classic, a standard song, Sinatra, Tony Bennett, everybody sang it. That's cool, and you can play it on bass. You can play many things, but it's on a bass. So it's designed for piano or guitar or something in an upper register. It's like you could take timpanis and probably play a Paganini Caprice on timpani, but how does it sound? or I would play, somewhere over the rainbow, or Michelle, my bell, play all that stuff on bass. It was really cool, all these 3-note chords and really interesting voicings and stuff. But it's more of an oddity than it is something that you would want to sit down and listen to as a listener. I mean, someone on piano, I'm a big fan of Claude Debussy, and his Clair de Lune. Is one of the great. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's one of the greatest pieces of music ever created. I probably could figure out a way to do it on bass, but it would be. I didn't get the notes right, but it just doesn't sound like it would sound on a piano. And I'm guilty of doing all kinds of things on bass I probably shouldn't do. I hereby confess I'm guilty. But there's a time and a place for everything. There's also To Be With You, where I played just what I was supposed to do. There's Ladies Night in Buffalo, where I played what the bass is supposed to do, and way more songs than not. Playing with Steve Vai, Steve wrote a song a certain way. He wanted to play it a certain way. That's the way I played it, just the way he wanted it. So that's the role of a bass player. If you can get a little spot where you can do a little thing, cool. But mostly the only reason there will be people there is because you're playing songs and they're enjoying them and they're singing along.
Sure.
Good advice.
All right. Next question comes from Gabriel Walker. Was it your idea to come up with the Yamaha bass where you have 3 bolts holding the neck in and 2 going at an angle on all the basses?
Almost. My original idea was we've got to make this neck to body joint more stable, because the Fenders, which I love and are iconic and are all anyone would ever need, never put that bass down. It's what I grew up on. It's on the wall right there. She is right there.
It's a nice wall.
The original, my original P bass. But with that bass, I can take the neck and push sideways like that, and it will slip. It will move.
Ooh,
very slightly. Maybe not now, because I haven't played it played it live for a couple of decades. But I noticed that they would shift in that slot. So I wanted to make it super solid so it wouldn't move. Again, never taking anything away from the most iconic bass upon which this is based on. I mean, it's very, very, that was very much the ancestor to this. But we did all the 2 holes here going at this angle, grab the neck and pull it into the socket. There's 3 bolts here. And I think, pardon my ignorance, but I believe there's also bolts on the inside on it. There's a tongue. This neck extends underneath this pickup. And so there's bolts going in the inside of it too. So it ain't going to move. It doesn't move at all. You can't move it. So it was my idea, but to stabilize the neck, but they came up with the means to do it.
Okay. Very, very cool. Next
Hell
question. Mike asks, what pedals are you using? I've seen a few on your amp at the Chameleon years ago with Winery Dogs.
Yeah, for a while I did a pedal board into 2 Hardkey amps, and with the EBS signature distortion pedal, it worked out great. It was almost an imitation of my rack, much smaller and easier to travel with. So we went with that for a while. Then Helix came out, and I asked them if they could model my original old Pierce preamp, which is, I got all my sound from probably since the 78 or 9 on. Eat 'em and Smile, all the Mr. Big stuff, everything was all done with that preamp. And they took my personal unit and modeled that. And that's when you buy a Helix, it's automatically in the software. So I use that. I went to that instead. But I can do a show with, there's a great little MXR, little white compressor. I'm looking around to see if I can grab one and show it to you. 5-knob white compressor, bass compressor, works great. It's really great in the studio too. And my EBS pedal which splits your signal in two, so you get a clean bass tone and a distortion bass tone. You can mix together or turn the distortion on or off at your leisure, which is kind of what the Pierce did. So, but right now I'm not using a pedal board per se, and I'm using the Helix, and it's working great. It's really been fantastic.
Awesome. Very cool. Bass Bandicoot, do you have a question you want to ask Billy?
I do actually. Am I still too glitchy?
No, go ahead. You can ask a question.
Okay. That compressor pedal, are you talking about the MXR?
Yes, it's an MXR.
I have the same one. I'm looking at it right now. It's a great pedal. Super.
Oh, they are great.
Solid.
It was one of the first 5-knob pedal compressors, because most pedal compressors have like one knob. How much compression do you want? A little or a lot? Yeah, but compression has a lot of things to it: attack, release, ratio, input, and output, which affect how it works. And there was I knew a lot of the guys from Jim Dunlop back in the day in LA, and when they first came out with it, they had a bunch of studios asking them to put Canon connectors on it because they loved it so much. They wanted to put a bunch of, because it was small and light and easy and inexpensive. You could put them on every drum. So it's a great little compressor.
Very cool. So is it true that you are a chipmunk farmer?
It would seem, because we have a population explosion of chipmunks now. For me, them all. So I'm sure what's going to come next is either rattlesnakes or hawks going to come and pick off the excess population. So I got to be careful. But no, I got them taking the peanut out of my hand now. I sit in a little chair out in the garage and I practice. I got my amps in the garage, turned down very quietly, of course. And there's usually 2 peanuts in a shell. Sometimes you get 3 and they're extra long. So I make sure I use those, because if it's a 2-nut peanut, it's a little close to my hand. They don't come. But if it's a 3-nut, they'll take it. And again, this one guy, only one, he'll come right up and take it right out of my hand.
Oh,
hilarious. We got a lot of wildlife here.
Very cool. Oh, we got Dr. Funk in the house. What's up, Dr. Funk? How you doing? All right, next question. Patrick Poco, how do you keep your mind sane while practicing when you are around 20 to 30 years old?
To me, practicing is a great way to keep your mind sane. And there is an art to practice. You can be very creative with your practicing. Some people just say, I'll practice, I'll play scales. Okay, now play them backwards. Now do them in every position they are, from the top of the neck to the bottom of the neck. Right. And now do, there's a million ways you can go about practicing. Now practice with just your right hand. Go across your strings like a drummer doing paradiddles and 2-stroke rolls. Now practice just with your left hand, making sure you can knock down all those.
Yeah.
As creative on your practicing as any other aspect of any art or music. So when you're bored, no offense to this gentleman that's asking me this question, but I got to tell you, being bored is on you. And I mean that with all respect. After over 55 years, I get up, I'm still excited to pick this thing up and go. In the morning, get up, feed the cat, feed the birds, feed the chipmunks, come down here, and or I'd be driving along and I get an idea, and gee, I got to get home and try this, and pick up the bass and do it. So it's those gates should be as open for you as me or anyone. So understand that there's an unlimited amount of things for you to know and learn and become good at. I practice things. I'll sit down and do a thing, and my fingers, I can't do it. Geez, so what do? Now I got to put my troubleshooter hat on and think, how am I going to get my fingers to do this thing? There was a lick I started doing just the other day. That was this weird thing. It was this. It was.
Whoa.
And when I first started, I couldn't do it. It was all over the place. I was missing notes, missing strings, flopping around like a beached whale. I couldn't do it, but I just I'm going to get it. Now I'm not warmed up now because I've been talking. That's why whenever I do a bass clinic, I talk too much and then I can't play anymore because I'm not warmed up. But there's the dilemma of that. But now I've got all kinds of variations on that. And all around the neck. Now, since it's a thing that is right hand dependent, I can't necessarily go down here because it's I'm off balance. But even that sets the let off. Why not work on it down here only, and get that, and then extend it across the neck? So that little thing, which just started out of nowhere, is now become a great additional thing to get these blazing high-speed, precise bursts of notes, which you may need one or two with an entire career. When I go back to the bass solo, but it's nice to have them because once in a while, and you can be done slowly and tastefully in all kinds of ways. But that was just one thing, and there's, like I said, on my iPhone, I got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little ideas. I got an idea. Let me videotape myself doing this one thing.
Yeah.
Chord change. Or something of that nature. It's really unlimited what's available to you. And if you run out of ideas of what to practice, start learning songs. Learn AC/DC, Back in Black, front to back. You can't ever go wrong with that album. Learn if you want to get adventurous, get something more complicated, or just learn Sgt. Pepper's front to back. Wow, can't go wrong there.
I'm not sure. I have a question. Did you ever take like lessons and stuff when you were first learning, or no? None. Okay.
No, we had my generation. You'd get an instrument, you'd have a record player, you'd play the record and try and figure out what was going on. And you'd well, there's a C chord, so C is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, one string over. There's a C. Okay, and then you'd work it from there. And then the first couple of solos I heard, just chip away at them note for note. Like My Generation.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Just piece by piece, get it together, and you learn by ear. Now, some people did it the correct way, unlike me, and learned much more about music and theory. But for us, our goal was to get on deck and start playing, not to pass some test or be able to impress some professor or music teacher. We wanted to be up on deck, playing those songs in front of an audience, and that was our goal. So we didn't think much about the modes or the circle of fifths or note was what or flat this or sharp that. So now later on, that stuff will start to come to you, and there's nothing wrong with pursuing that line. As a matter of fact, some great bass player, Jeff Berlin, for example, really tells people to learn learn how to read music, not tab, learn how to read music. I wish I did, but I'm still learning. I'm learning more about it. I'm learning more about how things work within what I know and applying it to music theory. But generally, I'm just an ear player. I never took any lessons. And I found out recently that Buddy Rich would never want his band to read music. Learn it. But he said when they're reading, it's a different feel. And he
is. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He goes, no reading. No. So I thought that was interesting. And so many greats couldn't read at all. I believe Oscar Peterson, one of the greatest pianists ever. And he was a big fan of Art Tatum, considered one of the greatest musicians of all time. I don't know if Art read, but I saw footage of him from the 1930s, this gentleman playing piano, smiling into the camera, and there's smoke coming out the keys. It's unbelievable. So I don't know if he read music or not. I suspect maybe he didn't. Somebody just wrote Dennis Chambers.
Oh my God.
Who's my probably the greatest musician I know. Dennis, I don't think Dennis reads. We give him a song, he'd listen down, okay, and cut it. Unbelievable.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Very
There's actually
talented.
a really. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
We
I was
did
just gonna
a.
say, in Sunshine, I think you'll appreciate it. There's a fun video. You guys know the channel Drumeo for like drummers and stuff. Dennis Chambers is on one of the episodes, and he listens to a Tool song that he's never heard. I think it's Schism, and then he just listens once, and then they film him playing through it, and it's awesome to watch that.
He's a must. He's a huge inspiration to me. I learned so much from him. My whole life was straight up 2/4 rock bands. And then suddenly I got this funkified time thing. And oh man, it was quite awesome. I also did a track one time with Vinnie Colaiuta, myself on bass, Vinnie Colaiuta on drums, Yngwie on guitar, and Doug Pinnick on vocals doing Van Halen's Light Up the Skies. So it's just me and Vinnie doing bass and drums first. So we're talking. And he says, "So what song are we doing?" I go, "You didn't learn it?" He goes, "No, I think was that some Van Halen song?" I go, "Yeah, what guys? You know it?" He goes, "No, I never heard it." They played it for him, and he went in and cut it.
Wow.
So there are, as I kind of tie this together, the gentleman asking about practicing. Some people are born with incredible natural talent. I'm supremely jealous of them. I was born with nothing. All I had.
Okay, Billy.
I didn't. It was never automatic. I had to work my way through everything. But I'm a good troubleshooter, and so I can figure out if I'm here.
Yeah.
They're on here. They're on here somewhere. So there's one. Okay. Nope. So you can figure it out by ear, but that's a troubleshooter way of approaching. It's different, but anyway, I digress.
Awesome. Very cool. All right,
Sweet.
next question from Baddest.
Yes, good questions. Thank you, everyone.
Can you tell the story behind the dual output jacks on the wife guitar? Or
that's one I pointed out before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called the wife because I was inseparable from her for many, many years. And now I have a real wife, and this one hangs on the wall. But when I got that bass, it was a regular P bass, which had just a regular P bass pickup here. That's it. In that same exact position on the body relative. That's how these Yamahas are made. That's where it is. But prior to me getting my P bass, the music store I bought it from, Art Kubera Music, 910 Fillmore at Sycamore in Buffalo, New York, they let me take a Gibson EBO bass, which is a big, fat, chrome giant pickup here. Super deep, low end because it's really close, it's far away from the bridge. The closer you have a pickup to the bridge, the brighter it'll be. The further away, the lower and deeper it will be. So I love the sound of that deep pickup. And on this bass, if I just turn that pickup on, you don't hear any treble. On the other pickup, all the high end comes out. So I wanted to have that Fender tone, but I also wanted the Gibson tone. So I wrote to Gibson. I don't remember how the transaction went down, but they sent me their EBO pickup with a wiring harness ready to go. And I didn't know how to wire two pickups to one output. So I just drilled another hole, added a second output, and used two chords. People say, well, that's stupid. Why did you use a stereo chord? But you have to figure in the timeline. If you're in Elmira, New York at 11 o'clock at night and your stereo chord fails you, do you think you're going to find another one within 100 miles? Probably not. So using two regular chords, and now if I want to just play the P bass, I'll just play the P bass. There it is, one output. Add the EBO, cool. Just play the EBO if I want, that's cool too. You can mix it with your volume controls if you want, and it gives you the super deep low end tone of the EBO Gibson bass, and the all super useful on more records than anything else ever, the P bass tone as well. Then I started plugging them into separate channels. Then when I got enough money for a second amp, I had one channel, which was the P bass tone, another channel, which is the EBO tone. Then I gradually got the P bass tone to have not a lot of low end on it and got all the low from this. So that enabled me to have, even though I was doing some fancy schmancy licks, there's always a low end. There's always an amp doing super deep, loud, low end. Because a lot of times if you take a bass Like if you heard this song, Dance to the Music by Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh,
When-
yeah.
Because I'm going to add some bottom to make the people. And he goes, what it sounds like actually is super thin, and it's a cool tone. I like it. But there's no low end to it. Because when you distort bass, you lose your low end generally. So this pickup is clean, super clean, no distortion at all. And I get all my depth from that.
Wow.
And I'm not the only one. Rick and Becker did what's called a Ricco sound.
Hey,
Right.
Ricky Walker.
A Ricco sound, which requires a stereo chord, which I didn't have. All the alembic, they were the first generally widely available handmade basses. Stanley Clark as the brothers John used them. They all had dual output. Each separate pickup had a separate output into a separate channel. John Paul Jones in Led Zeppelin, I heard a rumor he took his jazz bass and wired separate output for each pickup. Mel Sheehan from Grand Funk Railroad did a similar thing. The bass player from Redbone, I saw a video and he had the big EBO pickup on his P bass like that. The guy who did the intro to Barney Miller, his name was, I can't think of it. Anyway, his bass was in a shop near my house, and he's got a EBO pickup underneath the pickguard for his P bass. So I wasn't the only one that thought of it by a long shot. But it was nice to have those two tones, combine them any way you want, use them single or together.
Wow, very
so cool, man. Wow.
That's my story, sad but true.
This is kind of funny. So before we went live, I saw Billy's wine, and I also asked him if that was a mega pint of wine.
A regular size glass. It's just closer to the camera, you see. You go and hold it back here. See, it's just a tiny little thing. No, so not that big. I just came back from Chicago, and we had a long day of traveling, so I went there to do a special charity show, and Sammy Hagar played with the Circle, and they were kind enough to have me up, and I got to play Rock Candy with Sammy, Jason Bonham, and Vic Johnson, and Michael Anthony came out to sing also. So we had a wonderful time.
Wow. Very cool.
Sick.
All right, Andy Collins says, Billy, you set such an amazing example for us musicians on how we should not be afraid to share our knowledge with each other.
Well, I'm glad because most everything I have comes from somewhere. There's even things that maybe I was, I don't know, but maybe I was the first bass player to like pinch harmonics where you pinch it. I'm pinching the string, this fingernail up against my thumb.
Wow.
And I got the idea from watching Billy Gibbons, because he would slide the pick off the string and his thumb would hit the edge and a harmonic would come ringing out. I got that from Billy Gibbons. I also got hammer-ons from him in 1974 when I watched them play, when they were playing. And I saw him go. He hit the fretboard with his finger and a note came out. And we all looked at each other like, unbelievable. I went home right away and I tried to do it myself. Eventually worked it out. So most everything comes from somewhere. You'll modify it to some degree. I got a huge long list of people whose shoulders I've tried to stand on. Great players that I've learned so much from, not only bass players, but everything else. So I think it's a good idea to share. I know some people get a little worried about someone else learning your stuff. And I do admit once in a while when I see somebody taking somebody, I know that they got directly from something I did. That's okay, but I would kind of maybe mention me sometime. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Because I always try to mention Paul Samuel Smith from the Yardbirds, Tim Bogert, Vanilla Fudge, Chris Squire, John Entwistle, Jocko Stanley, Ray Brown, and a million other musicians on every instrument. So I think it's a healthy thing to spread what you know around. And it's also good to keep you on your toes, because if somebody else is doing your shtick now and doing it pretty good, well, you should be a couple of more shticks ahead of
Yeah.
your advancement. So it makes it so you can't really rest on your laurels, whatever those are. I don't know, but you can't rest on them, and you got to keep moving forward and becoming better.
Yes, very nice.
I have one quick question too.
Sure.
So with the with the pinch harmonic with your right hand,
Yeah.
had you heard Birdland by Weather Report at
Yeah.
that point, or no?
Yeah, that was after the fact.
Right.
I think that was about 78.
Something like that. Yeah, 77, 78.
Yeah. But I remember. I always slide the notes so it sounded better.
Oh my God, you're the man.
But we did that in Niacin as a song. I love Jocko, and
Wow.
problem was when we were doing 2 shows a night at the Blue Note in Tokyo, and my fingernail was coming off because you're putting against it. So I told the keyboard player, "Oh, go back for an encore. Don't start Birdland because my fingernail." So he forgot I said it. He comes up on stage.
Oh my God.
So I was in agony. So I pulled my skin from the nail, a drop of super glue, squeezed it together. Back in business. We're okay.
Oh my God! No, you did not.
That's true. And I always have a little super glue with me on tour in case something falls apart with my hand.
Oh my God, you are
That's
too
a good
much.
idea.
All right.
Man, that's fucking awesome, dude.
Next question comes from our how would I describe Don McDaniels, Randy?
I would say he's the dad of the bass kid. He's like the
He's
crazy uncle.
The crazy uncle. He's the crazy uncle of my group, Sunshine and the Bass Kids. If you guys are not a member of Sunshine and the Bass Kids, make sure to jump over there after this interview and go join. It's a great place, fun space. So the crazy uncle of the group asks, Billy, did you and Mr. Big start the Barbie doll groupies at Alex's pedal board when touring with Rush?
Just give me the name of that device again.
Did you start the Barbie doll groupies on Alex's pedal board when touring with Rush?
I don't recall. That's the first I've ever heard of the term, so probably not.
I think there was a bunch of Barbie dolls that were set up on this pedal board.
Never recall seeing it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I do know the guys in Rush. So we To Be With You was a hit, and we went out on the Roll the Bones tour also. We did their entire Presto tour, and then we did a large portion of Roll the Bones. And I remember Getty saying it's the first time he's seen girls in the first 20 rows at a Rush show. Because of To Be With You. That was hilarious. They were incredible people. They were so kind to us and generous to us. And we got up and played, jammed at the end of the night on In the Mood, and sang and played. Great, great people.
Very nice. Paul Tarr says, I think I saw Mr. Big and Rush in Denver in like 1992, I believe, at Fiddler's Green.
Yes, you did. And that was the show.
Ah! I wish I could have went to a show. I mean, I still have time to go see a show, but oh my God, I was.
Were you born yet in 1992? Were you born?
Oh, Billy.
Oh yeah.
Hey, all right. Rob says, Billy, you rock. Can you please pass Getty's number along to Sunshine? My other request is do a tour with DLR Band. Love you, man.
Oh, I wish we could. I had a nice talk with Michael Anthony at the show I did on Saturday night when I got up and played with those guys, and we reminisced about the 1980 tour I did with Van Halen, and he's a wonderful guy. What a great player, singer, and just an all-around human. But yeah, I'd love to do more with that. I don't think it's in the cards, though. I don't think in the past we'd hear from Dave, maybe every once in a while, that there's some inklings that he might want to do it, but I haven't heard for a long time. So sadly, I'd love to do it. I know Steve and Greg, and sadly we lost Brett, our keyboard player, who was also sang a lot on that tour. Brett and I did the lion's share of the backing vocals for Eat 'Em a Smile tour, and he was a wonderful guy. Just a couple weeks ago we lost him, but yeah, I'd always love to do it. So whenever we hear from Dave, we're ready to go.
Very nice. You guys, thank you all for hanging out with me, Bass Bandicoot, Billy Sheehan. We are having the time of our life. There you go. You have a request. Can you play a little bit for us, Billy?
I'm not sure what to play. I can play. Name that tune. If anybody can name this tune in the comments section, I'll have to note your name, write to me, direct message on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll send you a fabulous prize. Okay? First person to name this tune. Okay, ready? It's from the 70s. Actually, it might have been in the late 60s, but here it is. Nobody got it.
Nobody got it. Oh my goodness.
South California Purples by Chicago. Off the Chicago Transit Authority record.
Wow.
So
all right.
We used to play Stump the Band in LA. We'd come back after a night at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Greg Bissonette was particularly good at this. And I'd have all my CDs, because that was during that era when I get a 5 CD changer. We'd put all these collection compilations, the greatest hits things, and we just randomly select, and the first guy to name the tune would win. I wouldn't win anything, but we just for bragging rights. So we play, and I know a lot of songs, but some guys kick my ass. One guy in particular, his name was Steve Martin, not the comedian, but another guy, Steve Martin, who worked for Dave back in the day. And there's a song by Donovan called Mellow Yellow, and it starts out with 2 hi-hat clicks, or a little more, but and the song starts. The second click of the hi-hat, Mellow Yellow, Donovan, he got it right away. So we got pretty good at being able to name songs quickly over the years. But who else? A couple last questions, you guys, and
well, yeah, but can we watch the video, at least a little piece of the video with you?
Okay, and I'll tell you everything that I did wrong.
No, I'm really excited about this. Okay, how do we do this? Let me see. Share screen, Chrome window, Billy Sheehan, bass solo. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I hope it's not the one with the foxtail.
It
is.
Is this one okay?
Sure, go ahead. No,
that's one of my favorites.
This is Mr. Big.
Oh my God. Can we just talk about how handsome you look here really quick?
You What the heck?
I mean, what's going through your mind when you're...
Okay, you can stop it.
Oh my gosh. Oh wait, let me see. Stop.
Well, it's I don't do any drugs at all, and never tried cocaine, but it's definitely a caffeinated moment, and you take the excitement of being on stage, and maybe a cup of black coffee before I go up, and man, when I see it seated here in a quiet little room, it's frantic. It's just, but that fast stuff is there's nothing I do that anybody else can't do. I'm a firm believer in that. If you take enough time, analyze it, chip away at it piece by piece, you can do it. So a lot of those, it's just a lot of the all kinds of fast things like that, and they're just patterns. A lot of it has to do with the right hand articulation, but when I'm playing, I'm not thinking at all. I'm not even, I'm there, but I'm not planning or working it out. Now I see a lot of guys who do solos that are mapped out. I don't even know if I could do that, because that's an art in itself, but also I believe it's an art in itself to just let it fly. My early years, I listened to a lot of jazz, and a lot of jazz stuff was just go, man, and see you at the end of the song, with improvisation. So to be improvisational, for me, required years and years of learning where I was on the neck, what works with what, a million little licks and riffs and moves and combinations and patterns, and eventually hundreds of songs, so you get a melodic sense. And then when you do a solo, it's just kind of just close your eyes and dive into the deep end and see what happens. So I never know what I'm going to do when I do an unaccompanied solo like that. There's parts that I do each night. Like there was one, how's it? So another one we. Some patterns that I already know that I'll work them in, and then I'll do something in front of them and behind them. So there's our little plateaus of sanity where I actually have an idea of what I'm doing. But in between, it's anybody. Yeah, it's kind of J.S. Bach. I learned a lot of Bach. Somebody just posted that. I learned a lot of the Brandenburg concertos. And some wild solos in some of those. I learned pieces of some of the solos. A lot of Bach keyboard stuff. A lot of keyboard things. Because keyboard is kind of an unlimited instrument. So when you adapt it to a fretted instrument where you don't have the same amount of range, and you have a lot of repeated notes. On a piano, it's a challenge sometimes to be able to play things. I got my octave. From watching piano players play an octave with the two fingers up and down the neck. So on bass, that would be this. So I adapted that from them. But so anyway, back to that solo thing. That was San Francisco, 92. We had a, can I tell one story?
Yeah, tell all the stories.
I can't tell all the stories. I'm kidding. But, we, as a joke on the previous tour, Paul also did it in Racer X. He had his singer in Racer X said, hey, if you couldn't play any faster, the only way to play faster is get a drill and put picks on the end of it. So Paul did. It turns out Paul's still faster than the drill. The drill isn't even close to him. We use it in this thing. So Mr. Big, that ended. Mr. Big happened. So we started using Paul started using the drill in his solo, just as it's a joke. It's comedy. So many people took it serious. Oh, who did it first, Ed Van Halen or Mr. Big? Ed Van Halen had a big controversy, and more death threats came from that. But Ed didn't play with it. He just uses the motor noise of the pickup, But Paul, played a little thing. So we thought when we were doing the second album, the Lean Into It album, well, we should do the solo with the drill. Oh yeah, well let's do it harmony, bass and guitar, drill solo. Okay, so we did it, and it was hilarious, and it was just a funny thing that we did. I stepped on a Taurus bass pedal to hold the bass note while I was doing it, so it didn't fall out. And unknown to us, we went off. That album came out. Went a long time before anything happened. Put out a single, died. Another single, died. Another single, died. Then out of nowhere, some guy in Lincoln, Nebraska, started playing To Be With You. Put on more and more and more, spread around the country. So now we're still out on tour. Now we got to go back and tour everywhere. We just toured all over again. So it was quite a grueling experience for us, grueling in a good way. And unknown to us, our manager, Herbie, legendary Herbie Herbert, one of the founding fathers of the music business, contacted the Makita Power Tool Company and said to them, we have a band now. It's got a hit single in the charts, and they're Mr. Big, and they knew us from Japan. They were a Japanese company. He flew them over and said, we'd like to talk with you about doing a endorsement deal with Mr. Big, because they use the Makita Power Tools. Okay. So we explained to him what endorsement deals are, how Michael Jackson's Pepsi endorsement worked, how Michael Jordan's Nike endorsement. You had to kind of educate them because they were a power tool company. They didn't know about these things. So in the end, he said, I'd like to know if you'd like to do a deal to have Mr. Big endorse Makita Power Tools.
Oh my God.
He said, yes. And Herbie looked at his translator. He goes, are they ready? He goes, I think they are. So then the Japanese gentleman said, how much? And Herbie said, $1 million.
Woo!
And they said, yes.
Whoa!
What? Oh my God.
Right. So now we didn't get $1 million into our pocket, but we got half up front. It's still in my retirement fund. I didn't touch it. Split 4 ways, of course. And then they did tour support for us for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then up the deal again later. So you never know how it's going to go. This was a comedy bit. It was just a joke. But we ended up, that's why I say it, because in the background of that solo, you'll see the Makita logo. So they gave us artwork to the stage. So we had a whole stage of Makita Power Tool coming out.
Oh my God. That is
Wow.
cool.
One little tail end to the story is at the end of our tour, they said, well, we'll give you the Makita Power Tool catalog and pick something out if you'd like it. So I think, God rest his soul, Pat Torpey got a miter saw because he's going to do some crown molding. Paul got his dad an electric screwdriver. Eric got something for somebody. And down on the last page was the Makita generator. So I said, is it too much to ask? Can I get the generator? They go, so months and months and months go by. I didn't see the generator. I finally went to this big wooden crate with a Makita generator, and it shows up my house. I couldn't believe it. So
Awesome.
I put it in my garage. A few months later, 1994, Northridge quake hits. I'm home. Our neighborhood got rocked. We got smashed. It was like the end of the world. Everything shook and smashed and crashed. All the power is off everywhere. My neighbors in my condo back then. What are we going to do? I go, hey, I got a generator in my garage. You're kidding. We got a hose, siphon gas out of the car, put it in the generator. I swear to God, the first bolt. We're the only building with lights on, I think, in all of North Hollywood, Sherman Oaks, Studio City. So that was my.
Wow, that is awesome. So
That is killer.
All from some goofy guitar trick.
we talked about the solo where Paul got attacked by the drill. Don saying he was at the famous Omni show when that happened. So for the people that didn't hear about this story before, could you just give us a brief refresher?
Sure. Well, Paul, the Makita, now when you let off the trigger, the drill stops instantly. It's a safety feature. But back in the old days, you let off and it keeps spinning for a while. It goes. That's why that sound on the, because it goes up to speed and then slows down. Now they just go. They stop dead. So we had the old model Makitas. So Paul was out there doing a solo. He grabbed the drill, held it up. He's playing. Was going, I can't hear you to the crowd, but he still had the drill in his hand. And it was still spinning. He put it up to his ear and he got hopelessly trapped. Now, he can't let go of the drill because it's stuck in his hair and it's too heavy. And so now his guitar is feeding back completely out of control. He can't do anything. So I'm at the side of the stage. I ran out and I grabbed Paul. Go behind my amp. Go behind my amp. And I went out and I started doing the solo. Hey, everything's fine, folks. Nothing to see here. Then I heard later what happened when he went behind my amp. A bunch of crew guys were standing there and they had a scissors. And he goes, no, don't cut my hair. What are you doing? He goes, and this is so loud. People are screaming and fucking feedback. I'm soloing. It's crazy. He's screaming at him, put it in reverse and pull the trigger. Okay. So they did. And it went, now it's hopelessly stuck in this. They managed to get the bit out, undo it, get it out, come out. He came out, everybody laughed. But every show, or not every show, but the next show after that, the guys in Rush, when we went on the stage, they left power tools all over the stage. From the crew, they had circular saws and drills, and but it was quite a moment.
Oh my God, you guys, you have been hanging out with me, your host, Sunshine of The Sunshine Show, and the great, wonderful, fabulous, most amazing Billy Sheehan of Mr. Big Talas, Winery Dogs, Niacin. Who am I forgetting?
David Lee Roth. I forget. I think you got them.
Almost all of them. Steve Vai, right?
Oh yeah, dear old Steve.
All the good ones, all the greats.
I think I'm on a song on Steve's new record because he had pulled a track from years ago where I played a thing, and he redid it and kept my bass line on it. So I might be on his new record, which is quite great from what I understand.
That is really
Talas. That's right. Talas. I think you said Talas. But
I may have, but it's okay. It's worth repeating twice, you guys.
She said something to follow too.
Follow. There you go. Thank you guys for helping us out here. We're going to start wrapping this up. If you have a last minute question, drop it there in the chat. What's your best piece of advice, Billy, that you can give everybody listening at home?
Well, as far as being a musician and music, like I said before, get in a band with songs, you sing. Now, that to some people that might limit their scope. And there's every musician, every artist out there that might be watching. You do whatever you want. You're an artist. You do whatever you want. Doing whatever you want and expecting to become successful financially is a different thing. That's a different game. But art is art, and art is what you conceive it to be, and you playing the way you want to, whether it's plucking with your fingers, with your thumb, with a pick, with a violin bow, or with a drill. It's all legal. Playing a 1-string bass or a 1,000-string bass, that's all legal. It's all good. So I like to see artists live without the idea of limitation, because I think that's what makes the world a better place. When somebody invents something, they don't think, well, I can't invent anything that's too useful or too amazing, so I'll just invent some little tiny thing. No, they don't. They come up with the greatest thing they can think of. And musicians should do that as well, not that they don't already. Like I said before, I'm reading Ted Templeman's biography, and he produced the Eat 'Em Smile record, all the Van Halen stuff, and a million other huge hit records and stuff. And it's amazing to hear his take on how he works as a producer and guiding artists, keeping them in line, getting out of the way when they're doing great, jumping in when they need his help. And it's an interesting role of a producer. And it helps a musician when you read that to know that sometimes maybe look outside yourself for some advice or another point of view, but it's not really always necessary. Sometimes you can. And it's amazing. And he just pointed out that a lot of guys with incredible abilities are not all that confident about themselves. And they don't necessarily think they're hot stuff. And he's talking about Ed Van Halen. I just read the God Rest His Soul. Ed was such a huge influence, and what a wonderful guy. But he's talking about the first recordings they did the very first time in LA for the first record. And Ed would got done with that Eruption thing, and he wanted to do it again. He didn't think it was good. He didn't, he wasn't sure. But Ted, let me do it again. And so it shows you sometimes. So if you're in that position sometime, and you may not think what you're doing is that good, I think it's always good to let the audience decide, but also know that a lot of people aren't always absolutely confident in every move they make. It can be a little precarious. And Sunshine, I know you're a musician, so you know that. Sometimes you can't always think that what you're doing is fabulous, because it's good to keep yourself balanced, I believe. But also know that there's nothing that you can't do, and nothing is impossible.
Oh, I
Hell
love
yeah.
so much. All right, last question, and we're gonna call it a night, you guys. I've had such a good time. Thank you, everybody, for listening on the podcast. Everybody watching at home, you could be anywhere in the world right now, and you're here with us, and it means the absolute world to me.
My
All
pleasure. We had a great time last time, and we'll probably have a great time when we do it again sometime. You just let me know when you.
Woohoo!
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, you are. And I'm now your personal bodyguard. So come on.
Okay, so you got to shadow me when I go through the crowd there.
We got
no,
David.
no further questions.
We got David Pistoris in the chat. What's up, David? He says, "What's up,
Oh,
Billy?"
yeah.
The roof. That was my dad's answer. The dad joke.
All right, guys, last question. You know what it is. If you could throw a dinner party for any 5 musicians, dead or alive, who would those musicians be, and what would you serve at your dinner party, Billy?
Wow. Well, Paco de Lucia was an amazing flamenco guitarist I love. I have the great fortune of playing with a lot of people that I held in high esteem through the years. So I'm glad about that. But my first concert was Jimi Hendrix. I would like to possibly deal with that. Buddy Rich, gone, but amazing. A lot of people. Too many to list.
Just five.
Hendrix, Buddy Rich, Paco de Lucia. I'll revisit Ed because he's just what a wonderful, incredible man. And of course, how could I possibly leave out Mr. Pat Torpey? I would have to rejoin him as well.
And what are you serving at your dinner party?
I'm going to do my pork chops, which I do pan fried and cast iron in bacon grease, and then another pan. I take butter, diced Granny Smith apples, cinnamon, nutmeg, and a dash of clove and maple syrup, and I put it all down into this gelatinous mass of deliciosity and pour that over the pork chops.
Oh my. Okay, Winston, cover your ears outside. All right. My pig's out there, Billy. Come on now.
I'm hungry. I'm really hungry after
It's a good
that.
way to go. Because one time we were going to make pork chops, we didn't have any applesauce. I said, there's probably a way I can make some kind of applesauce. So I diced them up, put them in, bang, we had.
Nice.
Wow.
All right. Awesome.
Cooking and music are very similar. You just kind of got to use what you got, and you get smart, and you can figure it out. You got heat, you got steam, you got a pan. We'll figure something out.
You gotta make it spicy, Billy.
That's true. That's
just like you're a spicy fajita.
I'll try to live up to that.
All right, guys. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we get going, Billy?
No, just thank you again for having me. Stay in touch and let me know when you need me again. Talas record comes out in September. Winery Dogs comes out end of this year or early next year. Next year will be Winery Dogs tour. We're hoping to do some Talas shows. We have to find a singer. We're hoping for that, but we'll see about that. But that, like I said, that record comes out in September. And in the meantime, I'm practicing my ass off and trying to get better. So the next time you see me, I'll have a couple new moves.
Oh my goodness.
So good, man. Thank you so much for the amazing advice and everything.
Our pleasure. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone that tuned in.
All right. So until next time, you guys, make sure to keep a smile on your face. Be kind. You never know the battles that the people around you are facing. And be safe. It's a dangerous world out there. I love all of you so much. On 3, let's say bye, everybody. 1, 2, 3.